Howdy, folks. When was the last time your water heater was flushed? If you thought to yourself, what does that mean? Or, oh, more than a year, you'll want to stick around. See, a water heater has a lot of water in it, typically 40 to 50 gallons, and it takes a beating due to it being under a ton of pressure from keeping the water hot. And without flushing it at least once a year, you'll likely see its lifespan reduced by around half. With annual flushing, I've seen in some of my own 8 homes have a functioning water heater that is 20 years old, folks. But Adrian, this sounds risky. Shouldn't I hire someone to do this? You absolutely can. But I'll show you why this is something worth doing it yourself, as it is actually a lot simpler than it may sound. The first thing we want to do is turn off the water going into the water heater. Your water valve may look different, but it'll be found near one of the pipes connected to the heater. The other pipe is where the hot water will flow through after it is heated up. Once that's done, if you have an electrical water heater, you'll want to turn the power off to it entirely, possibly at the breaker. But like me, if you have a gas heater, you'll want to set the gas to pilot mode. This makes it easy to turn the flame back on once we are finished. Failing to do this step may severely harm your heater as it is being flushed. Next, this part is equally as important. You'll want to turn on the hot water in the kitchen and bathroom faucets. Some water may come out initially, but at some point, no water will, given we have turned off the water to the water heater. This part is important because once we refill the water heater with water, having all these faucets turned on will allow the air to escape. Not doing this will cause the next time you turn on the hot water anywhere in the home to create a ton, and I do mean a ton, of hissing and banging. Trust me, that's not fun. Real quick, if you're finding this video informative, please consider liking it. It helps me out immensely. And also, after this, go ahead and check out my 2 homeowner curated playlists, one with all my DIY projects I've done, and the other for my Moving Into a Home series. All right, back to this job. Let's go back to the heater and now begin flushing / draining the heater. There are varying drain valves on heaters. If you have one that is plastic, be careful not to turn too hard, as this may break the valve and result in a leak. This type of ball valve are my favorite because they are more reliable and easy to turn on and off. A couple tips here to have the water drain as fast as possible. First, be sure that the hose you are using doesn't have any knots or is bent like the one I have. I had to massage this area and in a couple other spots as well. Once done, as we can see here, the water is draining, but still too slow for my liking. The second thing that I sometimes do instead of using a water hose is to simply drain the water directly from the drain valve and into a few of these Home Depot buckets, alternating as they get filled up. I find this the fastest, but also much more physically involved, and it does require that the heater be installed in an elevated area. The alternative is to release the heater's pressure release valve as I do here. Be careful. When you do this, the heater will drain water through the pipe that is attached to this valve, and in my case, right next to it and draining water onto the floor. Awesome. The reason this helps is because it allows for fluid dynamics to do its thing. No need to nerd out more than that for now. Looking back at our water hose, it's now draining much faster. This may take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to complete draining. While we wait, let's cover some things worth knowing about flushing your water heater. First, if you haven't done this in a very long time, let's say more than 3 years, it may not be a good idea to drain your water heater without a professional. And that's because there's a lot that could go wrong with it. The shutoff valve or the drain valve may break or begin leaking. Or if the heater has too much sediment in it, it may actually get stuck in the drain pipe and require being unclogged. And if a heater has a lot of sediment in it, and you don't fully flush it right, which I will show you how to do, by the way, once refilled with water, you may experience faucets with very weak water pressure. This is due to sediment making its way up the pipes and getting now stuck in the faucet's aerator. This, of course, can easily be fixed, but it does catch people off guard if they don't know about this. Now, if you do have a water heater and it's been more than 3 years since you drained it, some people will say, oh, well, just leave it until it dies. I really don't like this, and I think it's better to hire a professional that is licensed to do the first flush and then have you do it annually after that. Like I mentioned earlier, a neglected water heater will possibly have half its life reduced and may begin leaking much quicker. Alright, once no water is coming out of the hose, let's head back to the heater's drain valve and turn it off. What we now want to do is to turn back on the heater's water valve for around 20 seconds. What this is going to do is have the new water coming in, stir all that sediment that may be stuck in the heater's surface, making it easy in a few moments to drain the water and the sediment out with it. Oh, and don't forget at this point to reset the heater's pressure release valve back to its original position. After 20 seconds, let's shut off the water to the heater again. And then also open back up the drain valve to let the water and sediment out. Now, this water heater was last drained 1 year ago exactly. And take a look at how clear this water is. But if we look closer, we'll see some of that sediment at the bottom of the bucket. That's what kills your water heater if left to accumulate inside it. But in some of my other homes, when I've drained a water heater, the water literally comes out black due to the amount of sediment. It's really shocking. What you want to do is repeat these recent steps of turning off the drain valve, turning on the water valve to agitate the sediment, turn off the water valve, and drain the water as many times until the water that comes out looks like this. I sometimes have had to do this up to 4 or even 5 times for some water heaters. Once clean, now we'll turn off the drain valve, remove the water hose, and turn the water back on to let the heater fully fill back up with water. As it's filling up, let's go upstairs and observe why it was so important to turn on the hot water in all the kitchen and bathroom faucets. Listen to this. Wow, this took around 2 minutes for the hissing and the banging to stop. But once we got water coming out, it tells me that the heater is fully filled up and that there are no pockets of air trapped in the pipes. Once I turn off all the faucets, wait a second, this sink isn't draining well. A project for another day, folks. To finish, it's now time to turn the water heater back on if yours is electric. But for me, I need to turn the flame back on since this is a gas heater. To do so, simply set the desired temperature setting on the knob. I prefer a medium setting because the highest may reduce the heater's lifespan, and the lowest temperature, well, it doesn't heat up the water fast enough. Yeah, first world problems, I know. And as we can see, the flame is alive and now beginning to heat up the water. It will take some time for the water to get hot though, so don't get worried if you don't immediately get hot water flowing. That's a wrap, folks. Please let me know what you thought of this in the comments below. Let me know what other DIY do-it-yourself projects you'd like to see me do. I'm always happy to take requests. And if you found this video useful, please consider liking the video and sharing it with others. And also, if you're interested in any more content around do-it-yourself projects, repairs and renovations, or topics around real estate, finance, or technology, check out my channel and consider subscribing. Thank you, folks, as always, and till next time.